Hi everybody, Martha Thill here with Remax Southern Shores. I'm here with Terri Branson from WeInsure. We've done a couple of other interviews and talking about insurance, but with the storm we just had last week and some of the things that are happening with insurance, and I know mine went up like $1,500, so I get it, but I don't get it, and I think a lot of people don't get it. So I prepared a couple of questions.
Great.
Probably the first question, what's influencing the insurance rates?
Honestly, it's the weather around the globe mostly catching up with all of us. There's just been so many natural disasters, and that you have fires on the west
Every
coast
time you
of
turn on the news.
California, and flooding and these wind events, and not just in the US, but across the whole world,
Right.
since reinsurance is sold globally.
Right.
And that's the coverage that an insurance company buys to protect them from big losses. So just when you see these things that seem really far-flung or far away, in the insurance world, they end up affecting our
Part of the
rates.
bottom line.
Yep,
It comes
they
down.
end up affecting us too.
Yeah, so no matter where it is,
Right.
it's not going to make any difference. Will there ever be a cap on what insurance will, I guess, either pay or insure up to, and then they're done? Or is there any kind of a cap that would ever show up?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, in a way, yes, because each person's, let's say if we're talking about homeowners insurance, or auto works the same way, your policy states certain coverage limits that they're gonna pay on your behalf. You might have some extended, like you might have 25% extended replacement costs, but in the end, that's the max that the company's going to pay for the dwelling. They're going to pay up to a certain amount for your contents, up to a certain amount for loss of use.
Right.
And honestly, it's all of that the insurance carriers are looking at when they look at their potential for payouts in different areas when we have storms. They know not only might we be paying for damage to the house, but somebody's going to have their contents damaged. They're going to need a place to stay while the house is repaired. All of those coverage limits come into play when they decide how much coverage they can offer.
When you make the claim on your insurance, how does that affect your overall premiums at the end of the day? Does that make, and the reason I ask is because I was talking with someone the other day and they're like, okay, this roofer guy shows up, and we've talked about this before.
Oh, yes.
But he was actually an honest guy and said that they did not have enough damage. There was a little bit of damage, a little bit of wear, but said just wait for a hailstorm and then the insurance will cover it. But is that such a good thing to do at the end of the day?
Yeah, not really. We have a lot of discussion about wear and tear on anything, which is never covered by your insurance. So the fact is that a roof is very much like your heat pump or your dishwasher or anything else, that after a time, parts wear out and it's lived its useful life. And a roof has the same thing. The hard part is we have so many consumers who truly believe that because they've paid so much for their insurance policy, that they know they're just going to wait until something happens and the insurance will take care of it.
Right.
They fail to remember that insurance covers things that happen suddenly and accidentally.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't cover wear and tear. So your 18, 19-year-old shingle roof might have hail damage, but a brand new roof next door wouldn't have been damaged by the same hailstorm because it's getting old. It doesn't stand up as well to the elements.
Exactly.
So, people need to be prepared that it's not that you can't file a claim when that happens, but don't expect that the insurance company is going to pay for the full cost for a brand new roof because you had an ancient old roof.
Right. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine.
And then the other half of your question, like when you file a claim, I see a lot of, social media posts where some expert, neighborhood expert says, oh, you can file a claim or a hurricane claim doesn't count against you, or fill in the blank nonsense.
Right.
By and large, in this day and age, any kind of claim is a part of your file and can definitely affect your rates, even if it's just the loss of, say, a claim-free discount. And with some of our companies, that claim-free discount is pretty big.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, I mean, they didn't technically raise your rate, they removed a discount, but when it comes to you stroking the check, it feels like the same thing.
I'm sure. We talked about this a little bit the other day. Back in the day, before insurance really became a thing, what did people do? Think back into the 1800s or whenever. I don't even know when insurance was born. You probably know that obviously better than I. But what did people do back then? They lost and they were out.
Yeah, and they managed to put things back together out of their own pocket.
On their own, yeah.
And you know, we understand that with inflation and the way our society is now, like people have a lot more and they have a lot more value. And honestly, like you think about your mortgage, a lot of us live bigger than what we could just straight out of our own pocket. That's our society. But yes, like even in the 20s, it was not super common that people had the 1920s. I forget we're in the 2020s.
Right. Yeah.
In the 1920s, you know, it wasn't common that people all had insurance. So a lot of times when things happened, their neighbors pitched in, their family pitched in. They put things back as best they could. Maybe it wasn't as big or as nice as what they had before, but that's how they did it.
So how do you, as an individual, keep your rates down or keep your premiums down? Is there anything as an individual that we can do that's in our control, let alone all the stuff that's not in our control? Because there's a lot.
Right. I mean, it's easy for some people to say, oh, well, you should live in a new house because rates on newer houses are less. Sure, but we're not all going to move every 5 years just to move into a new house. But there are definitely maintenance and update things that can help. But I would back up even and say, one of the most important things you can do is have great credit. Because your credit score does have an effect on your insurance premium, and it can be big.
Wow.
So nothing to do with the house itself, but pay your bills on time, manage your debt, like have good credit, number one. After that, then it's just keeping things updated. If you've got a shingle roof and it's reaching that 17, 18, 19-year-old mark, I don't care if the roofer told you it had a 30-year warranty.
I hear that one a lot too.
Nonsense, especially here at the coast.
Right.
Where the sun is so
beach,
hot
it's even worse.
and we have the wind and the heat and the humidity and everything else. It's just not true. And even if it was, that's a disconnect between roof and insurance. Your insurance carriers don't like those older roofs, and that means 17, 18 years on a shingle roof. So consider replacing your roof. Consider installing hurricane panels or shutters or whatever that might keep the wind out. And I'm not talking about the plywood panels that Horry County gives you, because nobody can ever put them up.
No, there's nobody around to do that.
Right. Sometimes people ask us about security systems, alarm systems, and while I personally think that's a great idea, we're not talking about big discounts there. Do it if it makes you feel safer. It's not big discounts with any of our companies, so that's not a big driver, but updates and proper maintenance are the biggest things you can do.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, I will say one other thing. This kind of new. Water sensors inside your house. They make several kinds now, but there are some that get installed along your baseboards.
Oh, wow.
And they will detect when there's too much moisture, like if you had your connection.
Like when my dishwasher went over.
Exactly. Or the most common one is the connection to the ice maker in the refrigerator comes loose and starts filling up your kitchen floor with water. These sensors will alert you. Some are intricate enough that they can turn off the water. Others will alert you so you know you need to get back home or send somebody there to turn off the water to avoid bigger water losses.
Wow.
So we're seeing some carriers that offer some nice discounts for that because water damage is a beast and it's expensive.
Oh, definitely.
It doesn't take much water for there to be a lot of money in repairs. So that is one thing that's kind of newer that people may want to check out.
Cool. Thank you so much, Terri.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great week. Take care.